Hello Tubies, it's Subs Week here on Pagan Perspective, so join me as Dr. Ravenheart discusses the difference between science and religion, hence the lab coat, and religion and spirituality. So the first topic then is religion and spirituality, and we are discussing what the difference between those two specific titles is. I think the term religion is one of those things that has changed a great deal over time again, such as the different polytheisms that we discussed last week. Religion used to be a set of beliefs as dictated by someone that was shared by a group of people. So the beliefs, the rules were very specifically, very clearly outlined somewhere, and these group of people all followed those same rules as dictated. However, now you look at the term religion as defined in a dictionary, and it simply says that it is a set of beliefs that's not necessarily shared by a group of people, that's not necessarily associated with rules and regulations, and it can mean as much as one's own personal beliefs. So therefore it sort of blurs those fine lines between what religion and spirituality used to be. When you think of the word spirituality, that is, to me, as I'm sure many more of you must feel so also, is that spirituality is more of a personalised way of relating to religion. That spirituality is really your connection with divine, your relationship with spirit, and your own personal beliefs that may not be written down somewhere else that you have to follow as a strict rule and regulation. It's more of a solo path, a solitary path that you really define by your own experiences, as to allowing yourself to be defined by a list of rules and beliefs that are written down somewhere. So although I believe that once there was a clear definition between religion and spirituality, I think officially there isn't really much more of a distinction anymore. Some of you may disagree with me, but I don't think there really is much of a distinction now. I think it's more about the emotion and the responses invoked by using the word religion and using the word spirituality to define one's path. For me, I think Wicca would have to be a religion for me, because I follow and share rules and beliefs that are shared by a lot of other people out there that call themselves Wiccan, but also it's my spirituality, because I have personalised my beliefs and I've personalised my connection to deity and to spirit through my experiences, and therefore that is what my spirituality is to me. As for the relationship between human sciences and religion, I think we have come a long, long way from where we used to be. As the term religion used to mean something that was dictated, that people just followed, it was more about following religion due to blind faith, that there wasn't much science back in the Dark Ages to prove otherwise. You know, people didn't really have an alternative explanation for what was going on around them. However, as science progressed, as technology progressed, and as people's minds started to think about alternative explanations, that is where we further started to either prove or disprove the meaning behind certain things, such as going from the world being flat to the world being spherical with a gravitational pull. Mind-blowing science that has changed both science as we know it and people's religious beliefs. Many people find it hard to be religious in a time like this, when we have so much science. It's hard to think that anything could really be an accident, or that anything is really designed. You know, we think that there is a fundamental belief and fundamental explanation that can be, you know, measured even. So it's hard to maintain those two things. However, there are scientific experiments going into looking at things that we believe as pagans, such as auras. I watched a psychic documentary a couple of years ago now where they actually took photographs of people's auras by measuring the change in energy fields around a specific person, and that they went through a sort of aura healing or psychic healing, and then they took another photograph and the energy fields had actually changed around the person in question. Now, I can't tell you what it was because it was such a long time ago that I saw this, but I'm sure you can find out lots of stuff on the internet about that sort of thing. The other thing as well that I always mention to people is crystals, that we believe them to have healing properties, that we believe them to be associated with certain energies. And on a scientific note, many different crystals have scientific properties, such as quartz, being that it exists in two different isomers, L and D isomers. For any of you with a slight brief background in science, you'll know what that means. However, it doesn't really matter. So if you think that the tiny little molecule that makes up quartz exists in mirror opposites, basically, and that these mirror opposite isomers rotate every second exactly, and that is why we have quartz watches, because quartz, the isomers in that were actually used in watches to get that 1 second rotation. I don't really know the mechanics behind it because I really don't know much about mechanics at all. I just know that quartz crystal was used in quartz watches because of this 1 second rotation interval. So the further science progresses, the more we can look into how these things change, and we can actually find some scientific basis for the things that we believe. But now, the mind-blowing thing to me about all of this is that our ancestors believed these things before scientific proof was available for them. They ate certain herbs that they found in the wild because they knew that they had medicinal properties. However, it's taken until today to be able to take those plants, take the extracts from them, and then actually say, you know what, this molecule is present in this plant and it does help in this particular disease or disorder. The difference between modern medicine now is the fact that we've isolated the parts in these plants that are beneficial to us, and we can modify them in a laboratory to give less side effects, to amplify the dosage, various things like that. So there are benefits to taking modern medication. However, you're not always sure about what else there may be present in modern medicine compounds, etc., which is why a lot of people rely more on herbal healing, and maybe they don't like taking foreign compounds into themselves. I am going to say that as a scientist, it is very hard for me to maintain this balance between relying on modern medicine and taking an avid interest in herbology. It's very hard for me to have these two conflicting beliefs, but I must say I do try to seek natural remedies wherever I can, because I just don't like modern medicine really, because I don't know what else it has in it. Maybe as I do more on my medicine course, I will find out more about modern medicine, and I'll get back to you when I find out more about it if you're interested. However, I can say that as long as we allow it to, science and religion can have a harmonious relationship. So I hope that you've enjoyed discussing these things with me today here on Pagan Perspective. Enjoy the rest of the week, and may you all blessed be.